was already here. It happened in late 60s, no, 70s already. So I left Winnipeg. And one day, I was sitting in my office at McMaster, and I got a letter from London, England, but didn't say, just the return address, but not the name. So I just ripped it up, and a letter from Manningham. I can show you the Xerox copy because lately I found it. I don't even know where is the original. And so that that he listened to the tape and how much he admired my playing.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I found this out that he had a tour, and then he had a concert in Winnipeg that time. And after this concert, Dr. Eckhardt had a reception for him at his home. And of course, he always promoted his wife's music. So probably other tapes he put on for Manningham, and among those, so it was the Pacific. And somehow he didn't mention about the music, so he was not perhaps taken of the composition, but right away he asked who the violinist is. And so they told him, and they didn't know my address, so they just said Hamilton, McMaster University. And about 6 weeks later, so he went back, and he remembered, and then he wrote me a letter. And then, of course, then I thanked him, and then he wrote again that whenever I'm in London, then he can have something. So we had some corresponding letters after that. So have you seen the manuscript? I mean the parts.
The parts. I have my own copy.
Oh, you have.
Yeah.
You have.
And I have the recording of the 1970 performance.
Oh, it was 70.
Yeah.
Okay, I forgot that.
And I have. Well, I'll just get started with here. I actually have. Now I don't know. It's getting.
Okay, I tell you about the premiere performance.
Okay,
that.
sure.
It has, perhaps there is a record of that. It was in Toronto, the St. Lawrence Center.
Yep.
They renovated, and that was the first concert after accomplished.
Yes. Well, I have
yes.
a Xerox copy of the Ken Winters review.
Yeah, but I don't have any.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, there was it was actually the original newspaper, and I Xeroxed the review.
I would like to have. What did he write?
Well, I can get it out for you right now if you want.
Thank you.
Because
I tell you what was significant for me.
For Ken Winters, it's actually a good review.
Okay.
Because he's usually pretty.
I know.
Harsh.
I know he was when I lived in Winnipeg. He was.
Okay, I'm going to. On my last day at the office, I left all my Xeroxing to the end, and on my last day, I just copied a whole bunch of stuff, and it's all in one pile. So it's not organized at all. It might take me just.
That's okay.
A little while to.
But the tape is running. Doesn't matter.
I'll shut it off.
Yeah.
There we go.
Okay.
I don't know what was happening. Okay. Well.
Just one thing I
yeah, sure. Go ahead.
This first performance, that after it was a audience success. So it could be because the last movement, I don't know how they took the first movement, but at the end was a real, because it's so brilliant, so exciting.
Yeah, and well, it could be just that Ken Winters didn't like the first movement.
Yeah, the first movement or something.
But
because it was a big success.
Yeah.
So, of course, she came up to the podium, and you know what? I never forget that. She kissed my hand. Imagine her she was older than me. She was this great composer, and she was so grateful that she kissed my hand. A woman to another woman, you see? So that's why it's so significant.
Right.
I never forget
Right.
because it never happened before or after in my life. That, yeah. Okay, so.
Well, anyway, I've got a bunch of questions. You've actually answered a couple of them already. Most of these I'm not even sure if you'll. I don't even know if they're things you would have known to begin with when you played the piece, let alone whether you remember them now. It's so many years ago. But I've got a letter. I copied it that she wrote to you. Now, this is one of the unfortunate things is that when the flood was there last year, they had to move a lot of stuff around, and a lot of the material that I needed to use had been misplaced. And it was my last day there that I got this box of letters from 1968, the year that the piece was written, and I didn't have time to read them all. Now, there were a lot of letters to John Roberts that were business letters, and I didn't read any of them, and I imagine some of them did deal with the Pacific Suite. Now, I might try and get those letters later, but I do have a letter here that she wrote to you.
To me.
I'll just read it for you.
Okay.
And it says, I don't know, anyway, so the most Merry Christmas, close by all of your family, and we both wish to thank you especially for having taken the trouble to come from Hamilton to Toronto just to meet us. How very nice of you. Now, business. I talked to John Roberts, she just put J. Roberts, of you, about our new baby, mine because I gave its paper birth, and yours as you'll give its physical birth, and I just, to recommend you and remind you, please write JR immediately about you wishing to have this violin work commissioned for you. Now, the rest of the letter is about, I've got the whole thing here, the rest of it is just about how she wants to make sure that the CBC sends her manuscript to the CMC so that she can get a clearer copy, because the copyists at the CBC are apparently not very good. Weren't very good, but the CMC copyists were better, and that's what the letter is really saying.
Yeah.
It was very hastily written. There's words missing and things like this, but basically, what I was wondering first of all was how did it come about that you decided to work on this piece together?
She asked me.
She asked you.
She asked me.
Okay.
So the whole thing was not clear somehow. The CBC commission, but it was for me. She wrote this for me.
Yeah.
But doesn't appear anywhere.
No, and I wasn't quite clear on
and
that.
And I felt a bit not happy when I saw the print and then she gave me. I don't even know where is the music. She gave me a copy, and it was for Marta Hidy, admiration, but it was just on that copy she gave me, and it was not printed in all the copy. The same.
Oh, when it was published.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's I felt so badly about it.
So that
because nobody knows that it was written for me.
Yeah.
And the same centennial. So that was the project for me, the piano trio and this. It was the same year, the 67 project, only she couldn't finish in 67. So, and already I was here.
Right, you see, when did you move here?
65.
Oh, okay, so you'd been here some time when this all happened.
Yeah. But I always had, every year I went back to have concerts. The festival, CBC festival, during the summer. So we always met because sometimes twice a year I had television. So since I moved here, I always went back for concerts.
Okay. Yeah. What I was wondering about the piece was well, the letter that I did read was from the Christmas, like winter of 1968, like in December.
I have no
November.
idea when was it finished.
Okay. Oh, so yeah. Well, it would have been finished by November of '68. What I was wondering was, do you remember when she first did she write the whole piece and then show it to you?
Yeah, I got when it was ready, the whole thing.
And it was a surprise, or had she been talking
no,
with?
it was not a surprise. Not a surprise. We were talking about it, and the Pacific movement. Yes, we were talking about it, but I haven't seen any written form. Only just we were talking about it
Until you got the whole piece. It all just came at once.
Yeah.
And
whole piece, and it took me. So you think it was 68
it was
November when she finished?
When she finished, and this letter is asking you to write John Roberts at the CBC to make sure that she's going to get paid for it.
Yeah, so I don't know when did I get the music actually, because that time I did.
It would have been before this then, so it would have... See...
Or after, because
it could have been that...
It was a horrible manuscript, I think, when I started to try to play.
Well, I've seen her handwriting. I've even copied it just so that I can. I've got a Xerox of it so I can put it in the back of my paper just as an example.
Yeah. So it was very difficult to read.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really start working until I got a normal copy. Well, I did start somehow, put some fingering, but it was not a pleasant. So I don't remember when I started.
Okay.
But I know that I used a year. Of course, I had other concerts and everything, but before that first performance, I practiced for a year, every day something. It took me a year.
And was it on the manuscript or was it on the good copy?
I don't know.
Because it was 2 years after the piece was written before it was performed.
The good copy.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering.
I never had a good copy. I just had that copy.
Oh, when you performed, when you just had that first copy that she sent you.
All right. So when was the good copy made?
Well, that's what I don't know. See, this letter was written in 1968, and it was asking if you would. See, they hadn't even received. She hadn't even received a commission then.
Oh yeah. So I didn't have any copy.
See, at this point, you didn't have any copy.
I didn't have any copy.
You and her and you and she were both trying to make arrangements to get it copied at this time.
Yeah.
But there was no copy, so it could have been quite a while before.
Oh yeah, it could be another year.
Yeah. Okay.
69, and then I played in 70.
Right.
So something like that.
Okay, because the other thing is that have you read Dr. Eckhardt's book, Music from Within? The biography that he wrote?
About her?
About her?
Yes. I don't have the book, but I remember that
the reason I mentioned is that in that book, he speaks about the second movement, the Pacific, because she apparently first started sketching it when they were on vacation in British Columbia.
Yes,
and that trip was in the summer of 1968.
You see, those I know not from the book, but from
actually talking with him. Well, what I was wondering, maybe if you could tell, see, if that was in the summer of that year, you said that you talked with her about the second movement.
Yes.
What exactly?
No, about the Pacific Ocean, because they had the holiday, and she felt that in the music there is the sound of the ocean. She felt that. I didn't feel anything like that. but she felt very much uh, the mood, how she felt, and because you think Pacific. First, I didn't know that it's the Pacific Ocean. I felt that some peace, Pacific. But then she told me that this was the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and she felt that she caught the mood of it and the waves and that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. But the rest of the suite, the other movements, there was nothing like that though. They were just
Nothing. All right. So her, if you know other, okay, the caprices are different, but the piano trio or the piano concerto, I remember Kürti played, or other works, the later works.
Mm-hmm.
I always felt that they were not great music, but more virtuoso, energetic as she was. Her temperament was fantastic, vibrant, energetic, witty, very witty, many times sarcastic, always the sarcastic about other musicians, and then she was just smiling to talk about those things. So that mirrored her music. They're very well written, as Ken Winter said, piano trio, all the three instruments are so, she knows perfectly what to write for, technically, and the sound, the rhythm, full of rhythm. So I cannot say that it's a deep music itself, but a showpiece. And that Pacific was that, except the second movement. Okay, it's a slow movement, but the pizzicato, I remember that I had problem with the left hand. It's fast, and I had blisters. I practiced. Then, of course, I had to have 3 music stands because I had no chance to turn page. No rest. 25 minutes. I think it's 25
yes,
minutes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So constant playing. So a bravura.
Yeah.
So I felt a bravura, and that's why I really loved to practice, because I felt I practiced some Paganini, good for my technique, good for my mind, finding out the right fingering. I never felt it's a deep music, but a constant challenge. And that's why I, and the same thing, the piano trio, I love to practice and perform, because the preparation gives me a satisfaction, not musically, but technically, and not only technically, but more the physical performance.
Yeah. Okay. One thing that, let's see, like, so do you know that if she talked about the second movement, the Pacific, do you know the other 3 movements? Did she write them after she had written
No.
Pacific, or was?
Okay. She just felt that the slow movement is the Pacific, and the others, nothing to do.
Okay.
This is a suite. Don't forget, a suite. It's not a sonata. Mm-hmm. It's a suite.
Yeah.
So those movements had nothing to do to each other.
Okay.
Bravuras.
Oh yeah, each one of them.
Each one of them separately.
Do you know anything about the because of course the pizzicato movement was used in her Manitoba Symphony. Have you heard the Manitoba?
Yeah.
Symphony?
Yes. And the pizzicato movement?
You didn't notice?
No.
Oh, okay. It's all orchestrated for orchestra, and the pizzicato movement is the third one is the second movement of her second symphony.
Oh.
And I must admit I haven't actually listened to that recording. I didn't get the time. But
when was that made? That recording, the Manitoba Symphony.
That recording I have to look it up.
Okay.
Complete. I don't know.
Yeah. I think motifs. She felt those like little segments belong together. That first one. Then this is a different one.
So it's almost like phrase markings?
Phrase markings.
Because they just go from
but
the beginning.
Here is a 4, and the 5 starts from here, so this is just that transition. But then it's no more.
Yeah.
It's no more.
Oh wait, there's an 8 over there.
Oh yeah, but where is the 7?
There's the 7. It's got to be there. There it is, right here.
Uh-huh.
And
so phrase
10
marking.
is over here. It just
phrase
goes.
Marking.
They continue on to the end of the piece. The last one is.
Yeah.
Where is it? Maybe they don't continue to the end.
13 here. 14.
14. I think that's the last one.
Yeah. Yeah, phrase markings.
Okay.
And here again. I remember in Brandon, I gave a lecture recital with this and analyzing the scale system, what she was using here. So I was talking about the work.
Okay. Do you still have any of?
I thought that's interesting that I gave it to Dr. Eckhart after, and then later I asked him, and he didn't have it because I left it in Brandon.
Well.
So it was a whole hour or even more about playing this and talking about the work.
And it wasn't recorded though, eh?
No.
Because
But then I left the manuscript
with
Dr. Eckhardt. He was still alive.
That's odd. It must have been lost.
Because I wrote the hard.
That's unfortunate because I didn't find anything like that.
Yeah, I know because I asked for later if he has it. So if I find somewhere the draft,
yeah,
then I
because
can.
it's you don't. I mean, it's probably too much to go into.
Right now I don't have not with my music. I noticed some time ago I found in a drawer, but then I'm always moving. So since this house, I didn't see. But if you are interested,
well, I certainly would because my plan is that at the end of the paper I'll do an analysis of like I'm going to go through each piece individually and chronologically almost. And this will be the last piece I write about, and there will be an analysis of it. And so I'd like to know what your analytical opinions were.
I will look for.
Okay.
Not during the summer. I'm going away now for 5 weeks, and then I have other things.
Yeah, it would be good to know.
So you leave me your address.
Yeah.
Again, and then I can send it to you. So you go back to the university.
Yeah, I'm going to be there on Saturday this week, and I'm going to be there until Christmas when I go home for my break. Okay, halfway through. Just to go back on something, do you know if this was intended to be commissioned, like from the start, or when she wrote it and gave it to you, was it?
It was commissioned. It was the Centennial Commission. This work.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, and so, but did someone ask? Oh, this was the Centennial Commission.
This and the piano trio, and
trio.
then two other things.
Okay.
I have. Where did I find? I put this in our program notes when we played. Where did I find the material? So she had, so for the Centennial, she had two other works. You don't know?
The Nonette?
No.
No?
If I find that was the third concert, okay, shut this up. The program notes
My next one is, well, she wrote all this stuff in Europe for unaccompanied violin, and but she didn't write anything after 1934 when she wrote the last Caprice. She didn't write anything for solo violin until the piece she wrote for you. Now I assume.
But she has other suites, the solo suite. This is the fourth.
This is the fourth. But the first three were all written in the 1920s. And I was just wondering, like, my theory, and I have no reason to have it other than my own ideas, is that when she decided to stop performing herself, she had no reason to write big solo pieces, and so switched to orchestral and chamber music.
She still played when we came to Winnipeg in '57. She played. She just finished the violin flute duo, or with piano. I don't know, but I was there at the performance, and she performed.
But
with the flutist who is here now, she was Paula Elliott. She was there with the Winnipeg Symphony and now with the Hamilton Orchestra. And she performed.
Oh,
That's a flute.
But she didn't go on big solo tours.
Oh yeah.
And she didn't appear with orchestras and things like
no,
this.
But she was equally good in the piano, you know.
Oh yeah.
So one year, I don't know which year, she stopped altogether, the piano and the...
Well, she had an injury.
Yes.
In her left hand, it was.
Yeah.
But around the late 1930s, she decided that she was more a composer than a performer.
Yeah.
And my theory is that she stopped writing for unaccompanied.
Yeah, because she wanted bigger works.
Right. So she didn't talk to you about that at all.
No, she just told me that I felt that's why I never played those early works. Because I felt that was not the present music. You see, so her style, before she came to Canada, was not my style to perform a living composer's work.
Well, you built your career on modern music, didn't you?
I always liked it. Okay. I didn't build, but I felt in Hungary as well that I have to encourage the present composer, so I performed. Premier.
The only reason I had...
And then here I felt the same thing.
The only reason I said it like that was that my own violin instructor at Mount Allison did say that he remembered you mostly as a performer of modern music.
I never did any others.
Really?
Only, because the CBC asked me, so I had the more or less duo on those.
So there were...
And Murray Daskin, so I learned that. and Harry Summers. Okay, that's why.
Okay, that's
But
where it
they asked me to do it.
Oh, okay.
They asked me to do it. I don't know why. But I gladly learned. I never ever played. Only Harry Summers I never ever played. Just on the record. I recorded. And more of it. So I recorded those things because the CBC asked me to do it. And I always felt that, okay, if I'm in Canada, I should encourage the Canadian composer. But Sonia's work was not my taste.
Okay.
For modern music,
no,
because it was not modern.
It was not modern
music.
That's
it.
It was, she was a soloist herself.
Yeah.
And she wanted music that everybody would enjoy when she was playing in public, and so she
so
wrote...
I never wanted to spend time to learn those things because it's a past style.
Okay.
But when she, and it was some critics, probably, I think even Cambridge, I don't know, wrote about somehow. So somehow it get to her that she should change her style.
Yeah. That actually happened in Vienna, mostly, when she... thinking about playing one of the movements. Mm-hmm. Most of it is beyond my ability.
This is difficult.
It's very difficult. Most of it's beyond. I was thinking of definitely not the first one or the pizzicata, but maybe the second or fourth. And I was just curious what remarks you have to someone who wanted to play the piece. I don't think has anyone else played the piece for me, you know? But nobody has, and so. And
it takes a year.
Right. And I only have 6 months, and I'm busy at that. So.
And nobody has time. So really, I enjoyed because I loved her. Now I know why I felt, and she felt the same. Very, very similar, like sisters or something. Because my birthday is January 11th, and her is January 6th. So somehow our temperament, our energy was very similar. And I loved the challenge because it was so difficult. So instead of doing Paganini or scales, I worked on this. Right. And so it's difficult. Okay, let me see. The Pacific, perhaps that's the easiest.
Well, that's what I was thinking. And also it's a little easier on the ears for my... Mm-hmm. For the general public.
Mm-hmm. And it's the name of the suite. So if you just play that one movement, it's the Pacific. So you can't just play one movement. Sure. Yeah. And it's not long. Mm-hmm. Sure. That would be perhaps...
Okay.
The pizzicato. Yeah. Okay, let me see. I will also forget because the Brandon concert. No, I played once more in Winnipeg, and that was CBC, but I don't know if they ever broadcasted. I do have the one part. It was the art gallery. And I played with Ada Bronsted, and we played the Respighi Sonata. Now that part, I have the Respighi, and we did the Stravinsky, or the Puccini with Suite Italian. And then I played this the beginning, but the CBC carried only the other two. Not the whole hour or an hour and a half, but only just an hour.
Yeah, because when Dr. Eckhardt made his catalog of all of Sonia's music, he, on each... Well, I have a shortened version here, but on his original version, which is only still... There's only one... There's a manuscript copy and there's a typed copy. It was never published. And he has a list of every performance
And what's 3?
Up until about 1989 or 1990. And so I knew about all 3 of those. Yeah, because he kept very good records. He did a really good job
and that was also CBC. And Brandon was the second one, so 3 times. And nobody, and I know that he called me so many times that he wanted to put this on a record because it's on the tape. That time when he called was not CD yet, just the LP he wanted to put. And then he asked me whether we can pair with other things. Doesn't have to be Sonia's because it was not enough, this 20 minutes. Right. But so it never came alive, that project. But so because they have the others all recorded.
Yeah, actually, there's a lot of her music has been recorded. Some has never been recorded, actually. Some of the music that I'm studying right now, the first suite was never recorded, and in the third suite, only the second and third movements were recorded. The first and fourth have never been recorded. So, and I've actually played. It was funny. I've played the third suite in my recital that I did last year, and it wasn't a very good performance, but at least it was a performance, and I had it taped. I lost the tape. It was the strangest thing. My bag was stolen with all of. I left it in the coat room at the university at the music building, and I had lots of things in there. And if I was going to make copies of it, but it was the day after my recital, and I hadn't had time. So I'll probably make a recording of that because I know the piece already. And I'll probably make another recording in the fall and send that to the foundation. But
yes, still I have the Bach movement here.
Oh, then your encore.
My encore. What is the last movement? Looks.
See, I doubt I would play even the last movement. I think the second is the only one that because I have a recital planned right now, and that's not one of the pieces on it, and so I would have to do that as something extra. Actually, that's probably the only extra piece I'll be doing is here.
And that has to be when?
Probably in February. I'm planning to have a concert of all her music, and I want to have as much variety as possible. It'll be all students who are performing, and I want to get as many different students involved so that as many different people at the university can have a chance to play her music. And
so it's not a complete recital of your playing?
No. Well, that's one recital I'm doing. So I'll play probably that one piece.
Yeah.
And then I'll see if I can get some pianists to play some of her piano music. And then I'll probably do the brass fanfare and some woodwind music and maybe some of the solo flute pieces. They're very pretty. So that because it's her 100th birthday, and I want to have a sort of a celebratory concert. And the plan is that I will give my paper sometime, probably 2 days before that recital. And then that'll be in February, I imagine. So I'll be presenting my paper, and I'm organizing a 100th birthday concert. And but then later on in the year, probably in March or April, I'll have my recital, which is actually part of my coursework at the university. And I already played a full suite last year in my recital. I played the third suite, and to play another big piece by her in the next year's recital, I'm not sure. And
so just one movement.
Yeah, I'll just be doing it because I don't want to take up too much of the time, because I want to give as many different kinds of pieces that she wrote, because her early music, no, it wasn't modern sounding, but it was still very good.
Oh yeah.
I really enjoyed playing the music that I played by her, and so I just want people.
She also had duets, 2 violins.
Those are very nice. Yes, I might try and play one of those as well. I might, because some of her early stuff is very easy. I can the caprices. I can play number 1 well, I can already say it's a very easy piece to play, and the even numbers 4 and 5 aren't too difficult. So I might play one of those as well as the one movement from the suite, just because I can. But
and what else is on your recital?
The one that I'm doing myself? Right now, I don't have it completely planned, but I'm going to be doing Prokofiev, Violin Sonata B F minor, and I'm going to be doing a Bach concerto.
You never heard my Prokofiev, the other one.
Oh, you did the
D major.
The D major one?
Yeah.
No,
on CD. It's on CD.
You're playing it?
Yes.
Oh, I don't...
And I have the Tsigan on it. Okay, I give you a complimentary copy.
Oh, really? Oh.